Villagers who live near Byramangala Lake in Bidadi, 35 kilometers away from Bengaluru, are living in a toxic hell of sorts. This lake has been poisoned by chemicals from over 5,000 industries which release their untreated waste into it directly. The frothing at the lake is reportedly worse than any other lake in the state, and the villagers who depend on this particular source of water for their daily requirements and also for agriculture are bearing the maximum brunt of it. Locals claim that they are also developing health problems due to the toxicity.
We are hopeful, madam. Any channel like this comes and anyone you recommend and any big people like any ministers, anyone, please come forward and do something.
Okay.
We'd be very, very grateful. No, hundreds of people, thousands of people and crores of people would be grateful. No.
Yeah.
No, madam.
Now
That's what we ask.
the kids are also getting affected by this. Little children as well. At a very tender age, they have to undergo a lot of problems.
That's what, madam. That's what we are. These people and all. I went and tried and called for you for this channel, and so that if you give the publicity, and those people, all the politicians would.
Neha Bali reporting on the story, joining me live now. Neha, we've been reporting extensively on the Bengaluru and the Varthur Lake, but this is the Byramangala Lake where the situation seems to be even more serious, and the cause of the toxicity in all these cases seems to be the same, the industrial waste. Now, there's something seriously wrong in the way the state of Karnataka is handling sewage and industrial waste.
That's right, rightly said. In fact, it seems like the state of Karnataka, the government officials who are supposed to be held responsible for this have taken a very lax attitude. Well, they're treating the lakes of the city and more importantly of the state as well in a very callous manner. Now, what we're given to understand is that the Byramangala Lake is worse than the Bengaluru or the Varthur Lake, considering that the industrial waste, untreated waste of about 5,000, 6,000 industries from Bengaluru and Bidadi as well is let into the lake directly. Now, while the officials claim that there is one sewage treatment plant installed near Kengeri, where the river, of course, where all of this waste really flows into before going into the Byramangala Lake, that sewage treatment plant has the capacity to only treat 1/4 of the waste, meaning that the remainder or the 3/4 of course, the untreated waste is still let into this lake, and that's most unfortunate. So, the locals, at the end of the day, are the sufferers. Well, they're the ones that are taking the brunt directly. Well, they're developing skin diseases, rashes. We're talking about breathing infections as well, respiratory problems. So it really seems like, at the end of the day, what's really happening on ground is not what's being sanctioned on paper. Because while on paper, the MP of the area, D.K. Suresh, really claims that they are working towards this. All efforts are being deployed towards this to ensure that the lake is revived and the villagers, the locals are able to live in peace. It seems like all of the amount that has been sanctioned for the cleaning up of the lake or for the installation of the sewage treatment plants has not gone towards the development of the lake and is definitely being diverted somewhere else.
Right. So those are the anomalies, Neha, that we will be tracking very closely, because this is no ordinary matter. It's a huge environmental concern. Can you give us an idea of what is the level and extent of the problem in terms of the areas affected and the number of people who have to deal with this?
Absolutely. Now, we're given to understand that this lake water, of course, flows through 28 lakes. The canal goes through 28 villages, is what we're given to understand. We're talking about as many as 20,000 people, the villagers who are affected by this. Now, this is the same water that they are being forced to use for their irrigation, that they're being forced to use for their primary agricultural activities as well, considering that that is the main source of livelihood, main source of income for them. So it's really sad that we're talking about as many as 20,000 people that have been affected, and this is something that has been developing over time. It's not like the Byramangala Lake was always like this. Go back a couple of years. In fact, if I can take you back by maybe I'll say 20, 30 years, the lake was in a much better conditions. Locals even claim that the water of the lake was fit for consumption directly. But now, going down these many years, coming back, of course, drawing our attention to 2019, it seems like all of these villagers are affected by it. As many as, of course, like I said, 20,000 villagers, all of who have to consume this water, even for their drinking, only after an RO plant has been installed in their village. Now, we visited one of the villages, Chokarli, which is, of course, the closest to the lake. And while there was an RO plant, the officials, beg your pardon, the locals really claim that the RO plant was not really functional, owing to the fact that even the water that they are consuming on a daily basis is polluted, is contaminated, owing to which they are falling sick. Now, the locals also said that the children are being rushed to the hospital around 2-3 times a week. Well, it almost seems like the situation is such that the children are in the hospital more than they are at school. And this is something that should be dealt with at priority.
Absolutely, Neha. And you have spoken to a lot of people, which we will be, of course, in due course, playing it out for our viewers to give them an understanding of how serious this is, not just humans, animal and plant life also impacted. Thanks for joining us.